Hello, welcome to Misfits Academy. If you've ever thought about, excuse me, if you've ever thought about freelancing or becoming a freelancer, this video is for you. I've right here everything that partakes to freelancing. This was generated by Claude. So shout out to Claude. Shout out to artificial intelligence. And guys, in 2026, you should be using artificial intelligence. So in some video, I will talk about artificial intelligence and how to use artificial intelligence. Let's get started. Freelancing, a full breakdown. What freelancing actually is. Freelancing is a way of working where you sell your skills of services directly to clients. So freelancing is a way of you working where you sell your skills or services directly to clients. Clients are people, your skills and services are the things that you can do. So you sell directly to clients, projects by projects, instead of holding a single full-time job with one employer. Meaning, when you're a freelancer, you sell your skills directly to clients in different projects. So you have a project with a employer or a client. Your client can be an employer, but you have one person or an organization that employs you temporarily, and then you sell your skills or services to them rather than having just one employer that is a full-time job. So as a freelancer, you can have several clients. You operate as an independent contractor or self-employed professional. When you're a freelancer, you operate as an independent contractor. So you are independent. You are free to contract yourself to as many people as you want, or you're a self-employed professional. Because you are a freelancer, you are self-employed. You're not employed by any organization. You're self-employed, then you offer your skills to several people who are going to be your clients. Then you're not a staff. When you're a freelancer, you're not a staff in the general sense of you being employed by a company and then having a long-term contract. Most freelancing jobs are usually short-term contracted jobs. You choose your clients, you set your own rates, you manage your own time and take on as much or as little work as you want. When you're a freelancer, you set your own personal rate. Setting rate means you set the price of money you want to charge for your skill. And then you can work with so many clients or you can work with few clients depending on your strengths and your capabilities. You can be a freelancer and then be a person that is building a company. And in this scenario, you're building your company, but you're also working for various clients. And in a case like this, you would most likely not want to have so many clients, so you can focus on building your company. That way, your skills can be employable, but you can also still focus on your own business, your own company. Now, next thing is the different forms freelancing takes. Freelancing is not one uniform thing. It shows up in several distinct models. So freelancing is not just one thing, it shows up in several distinct models. One, project-based freelancing. You are hired to complete a defined piece of work, a logo, a website, an article, a video editing, and you are paid once it is delivered. This is the most common starting point for new freelancers. So, number one is project based freelancing. This is a model of freelancing in which you are hired to complete a defined piece of work. You are hired to complete a work. An example of the work you are hired to complete is a logo. You could be hired to complete a logo, a website. You could be hired to build or complete a website. A logo would be a graphics designer, then a website would be a web developer. So your skill would be a graphics designer for a person designing a logo. Then for a website, your skill would be web development. You could also be hired to complete an article. That means you are hired to either write the full article or complete an article, and the skill would be copywriting. Then we have video editing. You could be hired to edit a video or complete a video edit, and the skill that would qualify you for such role would be your abilities to edit videos. So you would be a video editor, and once you deliver the results of your task, you get paid. This is the most common starting point for new freelancers. Another model of freelancing is retainer based freelancing. A client pays you a set fee each month for ongoing work or availability rather than paying per project. This gives more income stability and is common in social media management, ongoing design work, or consulting. From the word retainer, that means you are paid a certain amount of fees to be retained. Retainer based freelancing. So they pay you monthly or periodically for an ongoing project till the project is done. So they pay you for your time rather than pay for just the completion of the project. So a client pays you a set fee each month for ongoing work. So here it specifically says they will pay you each month for an ongoing work or availability. So they could be paying you every month for the work that is ongoing, or they could also be paying you for your time, which is your availability. And this is different to them paying you for the project. This gives you more income stability because they pay you monthly or periodically. They would this would cause for income stability. Some retainer freelancing could be payment per week or payment every 2 weeks. I don't think there'll be a payment per year, but it's possible. But retainer simply means they will retain you to complete a project. This gives more income stability and is common in social media management. A social media manager performs social media management. And what would you be doing? You would be handling a client's social media page. And because of the methodology of this type of task, you would have to be working every month because if you think about it, you are posting on their social media page every single month, and so they will retain your time to pay you every month while you keep working for them. This can also be seen in ongoing design work or consulting. So if you are designing a project, you could be paid periodically as a retainer for your time. And it can also be seen in consulting. Consulting simply means a person that attends to people and provides solutions to them or talks to them. Consulting is quite interesting because it can be anything. You can be a consultant for anything. Then we have hourly freelancing. So, hourly freelancing, you bill for time spent rather than output. This is common early on, but generally discouraged once you gain experience since it caps your earning potential and penalizes efficiency. Hourly freelancing is basically you getting paid per hour. This simply means you bill for your time spent. If you work on a project for 2 hours, they pay you for 2 hours. If you work on a project for 5 hours, they pay you for 5 hours. And they pay you based on your hour, not even based on the output. So whether you complete the job or not, you get paid. And this is generally discouraged because it can limit how much you can make compared to a person that is paid as a retainer. They just pay you to retain you. So even when you're not working, you're getting paid. Or we are paid for a project. Even when you're not working, they pay you for the project that you're working on. Compared to your time, they pay you for your time. And because they're paid for your time, you're most likely working on it because they're paying you per hour. But if you don't complete the task, you still get paid. And this is generally discouraged once you gain experience. It is discouraged once you gain experience because it limits your earning potential and it penalizes efficiency. So it limits the amount of money that you can earn, and then it punishes you for your efficiency. So it penalizes you. It penalizes your efficiency. What does penalizes your efficiency means? Actually, let me check what it means. Okay, in that write up, it's referring to hourly billing specifically. The line was about why hourly pricing is discouraged once you gain experience. Here's what it means in practice. If you charge by the hour, getting faster at your work actually cuts your own pay. Say you charge $20 per hour and the project takes you 10 hours, you earn $200. 6 months later, you've gotten better and can do the same project in 5 hours. Under hourly billing, you now only earn $100 for the exact same output because you finished faster. That is bad. So the system rewards slowness and punishes skill growth. The more efficient you become, the less you get paid for the same result, which is the opposite of how compensation should work. That is interesting. So it limits, or rather, it punishes you for growth because if you can do or complete a task in 20 hours, if you used to complete a task in 20 hours and you start completing it in 10 hours, you get paid less. But I think that would also want to make you a liar because you might want to keep extending the time of the task because you want to get paid the proper money. So doesn't sound like a very good thing to do. In all you do, please be honest. And that is why the hourly freelancing penalizes efficiency. But I think it's something you do when you're starting out, because it says here that it is discouraged once you gain experience. So you do this before gaining experience, so you can gain experience. So before you have any experience, you do this so as to have experience. Then we have consulting and advisory freelancing. Instead of producing deliverables, you are paid for expertise, strategy, and guidance, often at a premium rate compared to execution based work. So instead of producing deliverables means instead of producing results, you are paid for your expertise, you're paid for your understanding of the task, you're paid for your strategy, and you're paid for your guidance at a premium rate. So you're paid for your guidance, you're more like a manager. So you're managing the affairs, you're conducting the work going on. You're often paid a premium rate compared to execution based work. So execution based work are the people that are actually working on the task, like the graphics designer or the video editor. You are paid for your ability to consult. You're more like a project manager. You are paid for being able to properly guide people and show them how the task should be done. You're not paid for deliverables. You're not paid for showing a result like a graphics design or a website. You're paid for your ability to strategize, and you're paid for your ability to guide people. And that is something a project manager would do, or even a manager in its sense, or a marketing manager, or a manager in any sense. Now, on to the next one. We have popular freelance fields. Freelancing spans almost any skill that can be delivered independently. The most common categories include 1. Writing and content creation, copywriting, blogging, scripting, ghostwriting. So popular freelancing fields. Excuse me for saying one, but popular freelancing fields basically are freelancing fields that showcases the field that you can work in as a freelancer. And here are some of them. We have the writing and content creation. You could be a writer and be a freelancer. You could be a content creator and a freelancer, meaning you could be a writer and get paid for your skills. You could be a content creator and get paid for your skills. You could be a copywriter. So a copywriter is different from a typical writer. A typical writer could be a book writer or an article writer, but a copywriter is more niched down to a specific type of copy that they are writing. Then we have blogging. You could be a blogger and get paid for your skills. You could be a script writer and get paid for your skill. You could be a ghostwriter and get paid for your skill. Then we have design. So you could get paid for being a designer. You could be a graphics designer, or you could get paid for branding. You could also get paid for being a UI UX designer. Another field is development. We have web development, app development, no code or low code building. These are examples of developments. Under writing, writing is the broad category. Let me go back to writing again. Writing is the broad category. Then you could be a content writer, you could be a copywriter, you could be a blogger, you could be a script writer or a ghost writer. And then for design, you could be a graphics designer, a person that is involved in branding, or a person that is into UI UX design. We also have video and audio. You could be a video or an audio editor. You could be an animator. You could be a voiceover editor. You could be a podcast production editor. Then we have another field which is virtual assistance and admin support. Another field includes consulting, business strategy, finance, HR, legal advisory. Another category includes education. So in education, you could be a tutor or a course creator. You could also be a coach. We used to have a virtual assistant course on Miss Youth Academy. Don't worry, guys, we are coming back stronger. Now, the common thread is that the work can be scoped, delivered, and evaluated on a project or engagement basis without requiring the person to be physically present in one workplace every day. So you don't have to be present or going to work every day. You could work remotely or as a hybrid worker. Hybrid simply means someone that works few days in the office and few days outside the office. Why do people choose freelancing? You might ask. One, flexibility. You decide your hours, your workload, and often your location. This is the single biggest draw for most people entering freelancing. As a freelancer, you have the freedom of time and freedom to make your own choices, from the choice of how much hours you would like to work to how much workload you would want to even what your location would be, and either you would work remotely or you'd work hybrid or you'd work on site. And this is the biggest draw for most people entering freelancing: flexibility. I think in this scenario, flexibility can be equated to freedom. The second is income ceiling removed. A salaried role has a fixed pay band. Freelancing ties income to output and pricing power, meaning a skilled freelancer with strong demand can often out earn an equivalent salaried role, sometimes significantly. As a freelancer, your income ceiling is removed because you can work with as many clients as possible and your payment is not fixed. Your income is linked to your output and your pricing power, meaning a strong freelancer can often demand a high paying fee or a high fee for a skill that they have, especially when they gain a lot of experience and they have a strong reputation. We have client diversity. Working across multiple clients spreads risk. Losing one client does not mean losing all income, unlike losing a single employer. So, this says that unlike a salaried earner or an employed person, if you lose your employment, you're in trouble. And most employed people are salary earners, although you could be a freelancer and also be a salary earner. In the earlier on, excuse me, I said you could be a retainer based freelancer, which means you'll be paid frequently, which is a form of salary. And so, back to client diversity, when you work across multiple clients or when you work with multiple clients, if you lose a client, you will relatively be fine because you have various other clients compared to a compared to an employed person that has just one employer. If they lose the employer, let's say they were fired at work or they were laid off, something happens and they lose their job, they are in big trouble. The next is skill compounding. Freelancers are exposed to a wider range of projects, industries, and problems that someone doing the same role inside one company, which accelerates skill growth for many people. So, a freelancer, or rather, as a freelancer, you are exposed to a wider range of projects because you have the ability to actually work with various clients and various multiple projects. You also have the ability to work with various industries and problems that someone doing the same role inside the company and problems than someone doing the same role inside one company, excuse me, because you work with several clients and several projects and industries, you are able to compound skills compared to a person working the same role in the company. Apologies, I was trying to read that to understand. Now, because you are able to work with several companies, several projects, several industries, your skill grows faster because of the range of diversity and probably even workload compared to an employed person that only works with one single company. The diversity allows you to experience various structures and various tasks. And this accelerates skill growth for many people. Okay, I've talked about the nice aspects of freelancing. What are the real challenges of freelancing? One, income inconsistency. Freelancing does not guarantee a paycheck. Slow months happen, especially early on, and income can fluctuate significantly month to month. So your income can be inconsistent because there are months you might not get a single client, there are months you might not get a single project or be contracted by a company or an industry. And so slow months can happen, especially early on. and your income can fluctuate significantly month to month. Because of the inconsistency, your income would not be stable. So your income can fluctuate significantly month to month. Months that you have lots of clients, you get paid a lot, and the months you have few clients, you don't really get paid. The second is no built-in safety nets. Health insurance, retirement contributions, paid leave, these are typically the freelancer's own responsibility, not provided automatically as with traditional employment. As a freelancer, you have no built in safety net. There is no health insurance, there is no retirement contributions, you don't have any paid leave. As a freelancer, you get paid strictly for your skill, which doesn't come in with other added benefits. So, freelancing requires ongoing effort for you to just keep working and making your own earnings. It is your own responsibility to own how you plan your own earnings. So you plan your own earnings by having proper health care or saving money for your own personal retirement. Unlike employed people who have packages or benefits like this within their companies or institutions. It is not provided for freelancers, which is builds safety net. Then we have client accusation is constant. Unlike a job where the income question is solved once you are hired, freelancing requires ongoing effort to find and retain clients. This never fully stops, even for established freelancers, meaning, unlike a job where the income question is solved once you're hired, like a, unlike a job, you get paid income once you're hired. As a freelancer, you need to constantly keep looking for clients because you're not a fully employed person, and this never fully stops, even for established freelancers. The next is administrative overhead, invoicing, contract, taxes, and business operations all fall on the freelancer. This is often underestimated by people entering freelancing for the first time. What does this mean? Your invoicing, your contract, your taxes, and business operations all fall on you. So you are responsible for your own invoicing, you are responsible for drafting out your contracts, you are responsible for paying your taxes, and you are responsible for your business operations compared to a person that is employed that has HR or different services in the company that could help them with this. As a freelancer, you do all this by yourself. The next is isolation. Freelancers, especially those working remotely and solo, often lack the built in social structure and support of a workplace, which can affect motivation and mental well being over time. Freelancers get to be isolated because you are either working remotely and solo, and because of this, you often lack built in social structure and support of your workplace because you are most likely a solo worker, and this can affect your motivation and mental well being. Okay, how freelancers actually get paid: fixed price per project. Fixed price per project. Agreed before work begins based on the scope of the deliverable. So you get paid a fixed price per project, which is agreed before the work begins based on the scope of the deliverable. A freelancer could also get paid an hourly rate or a hourly rate. This is billed for actual time worked, tracked, and invoiced. So you get paid per hour. The first is you get paid fixed price per project. The second is you get paid per hour. The third is retainer, which is a recurring monthly fee for ongoing access or a set volume of work. So you get paid a retainer. I mentioned this earlier in the video, which is the different forms freelancing takes. But right now, this is how freelancers actually get paid. Then we have milestone based payments. Larger projects broken into phases with payments released at each completed stage. So you get paid per milestone, and this is usually found in large projects broken into phases with payment released at each completed stage. So at each stage of completion, you get paid. Then we have value based pricing. This is pricing tied to the outcome or value delivered to the client rather than time or effort, common among experienced consultants. So you get paid for your value. Your price is attached to the outcome or value you delivered to the client. You're not getting paid for your time or even the effort, but you get paid for your outcome. Pricing strategy tends to shift as freelancers gain experience, moving away from hourly billing toward project or value based pricing, since it rewards skill and speed rather than penalizing them. So, freelancing rewards your skill and speed rather than penalizing it. Like I said, or like I just read, pricing strategy tends to shift as freelancers gain experience, moving away from hourly billing toward project or value based pricing, since it rewards skill and speed rather than penalizing them. So, from this, as a freelancer, you will most likely start with hourly billing due to little or no experience, and then you will slowly evolve to becoming a value based freelancer, meaning you will get paid for your value or for the total outcome of the project you are involved in. Now, where freelancers find work, one or a place a freelancer can find work is freelance marketplaces. I don't want to say one because they are highlighted here. Freelance marketplaces is one of the places where a freelancer can't find work. So, this is talking about where freelancers find work. Freelance marketplaces are platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, and Contra, which connect freelancers with clients actively searching for services. So you find work in freelance marketplaces on platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, and Contra, which connects freelancers with clients actively searching for services. On marketplaces like this, you would find clients actively searching for services. Then we've got referrals. Word of mouth from past clients, often the highest converting and most trusted source of new work. Reputation is good because if you don't have a good reputation, you will not get referrals. And referrals is done by word of mouth from past clients, often the highest converting and most trusted source of new work. So referrals is often the highest converting. That means the one with the highest guarantee, the one with which is often the highest guarantee of getting new clients or new work, and also the most trusted source of new work. So referrals is very important. Then we have direct outreach. Freelancers proactively contacting businesses or individuals who could use their services. Basically, direct outreach means you directly and proactively reach out to businesses or individuals who could use your services. We've got content and personal branding. Building visibility through writing, video, or social presence, which attracts inbound clients' interest over time. I think in 2026, the knowledge about content creation and getting clients through content creation is quite popular. Also, the knowledge of getting clients through personal branding is also a bit popular, and this is one of the ways you can get work as a freelancer by content creation and personal branding. This helps you to build visibility through video writing, excuse me, through writing or video or social presence. What I'm doing right now is content creation, and This can help me get buyers for the freelancing course, or rather freelancing class that I want to hold. And this is a form of content creation and personal branding strategy. We have professional networks, industry communities, former colleagues, and existing relationships. This simply means your professional networks, like industry communities and former colleagues, and even existing relationships, can help you find work. You know, industry communities are communities of a particular industry. Let's say you belong to the community of web developers. In this community, they could help you find work. Or let's say you are friends with a person who is also a developer, they could help you to network with other clients. And this, in a way, can also be a form of referral because they would refer you for work. Okay, what separates freelancers who succeed from those who struggle? Specificity of offer. Freelance, excuse me, freelancers who clearly define who they help and what results they deliver tend to attract clients faster than those offering broad generalized service. When you have a specific offer, it helps you to narrow down and attract the clients you want faster rather than offering a broad generalized service. So you need to be specific with your offer. We also have reputation and proof, testimonials, portfolios, and case studies build trust quickly, especially early on when a freelancer has no track record to point to otherwise. This means your reputation and proof materials like your testimonials, your portfolios, and case studies helps you to build trust quickly, especially early on when you don't have a track record to point to. So, as a freelancer, you need to have testimonials, you need to build a portfolio, and you need to have a case study. On my YouTube channel, there is a video where I have 71 students reviewing our courses. That is a case of a very nice testimonial because before you buy a course, you get to watch a video and it's up to an hour long where we have 71 students reviewing our courses. The next is systems, not just skill. Contract, onboarding processes, and clear scopes of work prevent the disputes and scope creep that derail many freelance relationships. What does this mean? If you're a freelancer, excuse me, if you are a freelancer with good contracts and onboarding process, and you also have a clear scope of work, This helps you to prevent disputes and scope creep that's may derail many freelance relationships. This means when you have a proper structure, from having a good contract to good onboarding process and clear scope, this will help you to prevent disputes and scope creep that derail many freelance relationships. And this would really separate you from other freelancers. The next is systems, not just skill. Apologies, I just said that. The next is financial discipline. Because income is irregular, freelancers who succeed long term tend to budget conservatively, set aside funds for taxes, and build some buffer for slow periods. So, because income is irregular as a freelancer, freelancers who succeed long term they tend to budget, they tend to plan and have a budget which is conservative. So, the budget conservatively, they set aside funds for taxes and they build some buffer for slow periods. This simply means when they have resources, they plan for the days when there won't be resources. And as a company owner, this is something I didn't do well. I, at some point, didn't create a proper buffer. So, learn to utilize this. Even if you're not a freelancer, financial discipline is a very, very good thing. And you can read Psychology of Money or The Richest Man in Babylon. These are good books that could help you with financial discipline. The next is continuous client development. The freelancers who last treat finding new clients as an ongoing path of the work, not a one time task solved after the first sale. This means you have to continuously keep seeking clients rather than waiting till you exhaust a client. This is also one thing I need to do. Guys, before I continue, be a teacher because when you are a teacher, it allows you to learn. I am really learning a lot right now. Be a teacher, please. So, when you constantly look for new clients, it allows you to not wait till you have exhausted a previous client or lost a client. And this helps you to stay afloat. You know, freelancers will last treat finding new clients as an ongoing path of the work. It is an ongoing path of the work, not a one time task that is solved when you need to find another client. You don't wait till your contract is almost over or your contract is over before you look for a client or before you look for your next client. You are constantly searching for clients even while on project. This really helps you to be a freelancer that is able to survive above other freelancers. Okay, The next is freelancing versus running a business. Freelancing is often the entry point into self employment, but it is not identical to running a full business. A pure freelancer typically trades their own time and skill directly for payment. A business, by contrast, can scale beyond the founder's personal output through hiring systems, products, or platforms that generate income independent of the founder's direct involvement. Many freelancers eventually evolve into agency owners, product creators, or platform builders as they grow. Using freelancing as the starting foundation rather than the endpoint. What this simply says is that freelancing could be a starting foundation, or more so, freelancing usually is a starting foundation rather than an endpoint for several things. This could be you running your own business later, or becoming an independent founder, or running an agency, or even becoming a product or a platform creator. So, freelancing is often the entry point into self employment, but it is not identical to running a full business. A pure freelancer typically trades their own time and skill directly for payment. So you trade your own time and skill directly for payment. A business, by contrast, can scale beyond the founder's personal output. So, unlike freelancing, a business can scale beyond your own personal output because you typically have employees and people working for you. But as a freelancer, it is only surrounded or restricted to your own personal output. And a, and one of the reasons why a business, by contrast, can scale beyond your founder's personal outputs again is through hiring. So you hire people through systems. You have various systems in place. You have products. You have various products. You have platforms that generate income independent of the founder's direct involvement. So basically, a business owner is typically a person that makes money independent of their own outputs, whereas a freelancer is a person that makes money off their independent outputs. A freelancer makes money from their independent outputs. Many freelancers eventually evolve into agency owners, product creators, or platform builders as they grow, using freelancing as the starting foundation rather than the endpoint. In summary, freelancing is independent, project based work sold directly to clients rather than delivered through traditional employment. It offers flexibility, uncapped income potential, and varied experience, but comes with real trade offs: income instability, no built in benefits, and constant responsibility for finding new work. Success in freelancing tends to come down to a clear offer, consistent client development, sound pricing, and the discipline to treat it as a real business rather than occasional gig work. Freelancing is independent. It is independent. You do it by yourself. You are solo. You are self employed. And project based work sold directly. So you're working on projects usually directly with a client, and it is delivered through traditional employment. Sorry, so directly to clients rather than delivered through traditional employment. So freelancing is sold directly to clients rather than traditional employment. An example of traditional employment is getting a 9 to 5. So rather than working with a company, you are working directly with a client, or even directly with a company but with a much more interpersonal structure, and in most cases it is usually temporary. Excuse me. Freelancing offers flexibility, uncapped income potential. So it allows for flexibility, it allows for freedom, really. And your earning potential is unlimited because you are paid for your skills and you can work with several clients. And it also comes with varied experience. So you get to work with different industries, different clients, you experience different variations. But it comes with real trade-offs, which are income instability. You don't have a constant or stable income because there could be months where you don't have a client. Also, no built-in benefits. Like I said earlier, you don't have access to what employed people have access to. And an example is company insurance or even company loans. Then we also have your need to constantly find a new client. Compared to employed people, you need to constantly find new clients. This is your personal responsibility. But guess what? Success in freelancing tends to come down to a clear offer, which means you can be very successful in freelancing, but you need to have a clear offer. You also need to have consistent client development. You need to consistently structure your clientele, and you need to have a sound pricing. Your price has to tally with the industry, and the discipline to treat it as a real business rather than occasional gig. When you have a sound pricing, your pricing should tally with the industry. Although you could be a consultant and make more money, regardless, you need to be able to properly structure your price so that you are valuable. Remember, as a freelancer, your reputation matters a lot. You are the product, so your reputation is very important. The discipline to treat it as a real business rather than an occasional gig is also a very important keynote. You need to treat your freelancing as a real business. That means you have to have a structure. As a matter of fact, when you treat your freelancing as a real business, it could actually then function as a business. So much so that it can be independent of you. But but this is where it will now evolve into something like an agency when you are treating it as a business and you're growing. Remember, freelancing is usually a gateway into running a business. I hope you've learned a lot from this video. I will be running a course or a class on freelancing, which is quite detailed, and the fee is just 10,000 naira. If you are interested, send me a DM on +2349037708693, and you can join the freelancing class.